What is up, guys? It is Bucky and welcome to your 49th Objective-C tutorial. And in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the define statement. Now what the define statement is it's a statement that usually goes underneath the import statement right here in your program, and it essentially is built-in replacer. It takes something and replaces it with something else. Literally, it's a way to define names to constant program values. That's like the definition of it. But in all simplicity, what it does is replace something with something else. So like I said, let's go ahead and create an example right here. The syntax for it is pound define, and then go ahead and type the name you want to use. And this is going to be kind of like a variable, except you can't change it. So I'm going to go ahead and type pi, and now you type what you want. Every time your program comes across the word pi, what do you want it to replace with? So 3.14159. So the cool thing about this is you don't have to type 3.14159 anymore. You can just type the word pi and it'll fill the rest in for you. So let's go ahead and put this baby to work. So let's go ahead and make a variable called floatx, and float is just a number that can use decimal points. So set it equal to pi, and this will set it equal to 3.14159. But let's go ahead and set it equal to pi plus 6. So now what this does is, before your program even runs, it goes through your entire program and looks for any instance of pi. And since it say, alright, I saw one right here, I'm going to take this out and change it to 3.14159. So now instead of x being equal to whatever this weird word is, it's now equal to 9.14159. So let's go ahead and print that out. And another thing I'll tell you in a second, use %f to for floats, and go ahead and what we're printing out x, build and run this and save, and we see print out successfully 9.141590. So as you can see, all define does is it defines a word that you want to use instead of a value. And before your program runs, it takes out that word and replaces the value instead. Simple enough, but check this out, even cooler. Let me delete all this. I'm going to be typing a bunch of examples in here. It can't only replace one value, but it can also be used in expressions as well. So go ahead and define, whoa, easy @ sign, define 2pi, and yeah, I know I spelled pi wrong, and you actually want to capitalize this because in order to, you don't need to, but it's common practice that you want to capitalize every word, because then when you're looking at a program you can easily see which are your program constants and which aren't. So as a general rule, you want to capitalize it. So anyways, 2pi, and what do we want to set it equal to? Let's just go ahead and put 3.14159 times 2. So now once you're doing the area, which is 2pi r, I think that's the area, maybe circumference or something, but instead of having to type this for 2pi, all you have to do is type 2pi and then times it by the radius. So how easy, or a lot easier than that, than typing all this. So what this would do is this would be equivalent to this. Copy this times r. So what your program would do is when it's running through, it would take this out and replace it with this. So these pretty much are the same thing, but this you can see is a lot easier to use. And now I want to take note of one thing. Check this out. Since it is pretty much a built-in replacer, that is why you don't add a semicolon at the top right here. So see, right now this runs fine just like this. But if you added a semicolon right here, then what it would do is anytime it took out 2pi, it would replace this thing exactly, so it would have a semicolon right there and one at the end. So that's why you don't want to add a semicolon unless you know it's going at the end of an expression. So anyway, since it's literally replacing 2pi, it would replace the whole thing and the semicolon, since you put a semicolon right there. So is a general rule, always leave one out. I guess that's not a general rule if you do it all the time, just a pretty much just a basic rule. So that's why you don't use semicolons. So another cool thing about this define is you don't even have to use it with dealing with numbers at all. You can define like the keyword and instead of using two ampersands, you can define the keyword or instead of using two pipelines, and equals instead of using two equal signs. So if you're saying, all right, if x equals y, instead of writing that two equal signs every time, it would be the same thing. So not only, if you guys want another example, let's make an if statement. If age is greater than 10 and age is less than 40, you can even use it in an if statement if this was an and. So something like that. So then I would date you. Just so you know, you got to finish off the if statement. So the last thing I want to go over is the fact that the last thing it can do, I want to teach, is actually reference itself. So let's go back to the pi thing. So let's set pi equal to 3.1415926. And now what we want to do is we want to define 2 pi. And what we can actually do is put 2, we'll do 2.0 times pi. And you're actually using this in another expression. So that is a way that you can reference other definitions as well. And there's one more thing I want to go over, but I really don't have time in this tutorial. I thought I was going to get to it, but I didn't. But yeah, I really don't have time. But anyways, I hope you learned a little bit about definitions, and don't get confused that it's called a definition. It's pretty much a built-in replacer. It takes the word out and replaces it with whatever value or whatever you put in. So that's all that's pretty much all I have time for. So thank you guys for watching. I'm actually going to be making a bunch of examples and putting them in the link below in my forum under the Objective-C section. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out my forum for all the free examples, and I will see you later.